Let us start this lecture with a thought process, that is, more we go away from traditional agriculture and textile technology by adopting mechanized methods, more we drift from the humanity while inviting the awful anarchy in India. Of course, you might be thinking why it is so, because this will give you the peace of mind, also sense of achievements by doing it, and the body and mind will be balanced, and also you will be self independent. So, therefore, and it will also give you employment to the populous country like India. So, therefore, it is important to keep our traditional technology, maybe little bit improvised version, but the basic philosophy of staying with the mother nature will be on the back of these all developments. Let us start this lecture with a Sant Kabir Das. Most of you will be knowing, he is a legendary weaver and a great poet, and whose dohas are still popular, and he was a weaver by profession. And if you look at, this is the loom what it was having, and unfortunately I did not get details about this loom, which I have shown here. If you look at, these are the warps, and this will be cloth and then kind of things. This is quite interesting. There are several looms people were having earlier days, but those are gone with the passage of time due to the blatant use of the modern power looms. So, Indian handlooms, if you look at technology, is a very important one, and then let us ask a question, what do you mean by a loom? Of course, by this time you will be aware, but that loom is basically a device for making cloth by weaving or knitting of yarn and thread, right. That is, you can define that way, and whenever you use a hand for operating this loom, we call it as a handloom. The handloom industry was a cottage industry in ancient India, and it was part and parcel of most of the people, not only in rural areas, even in urban areas earlier days, but today it is not the case. And this is the green production, and employment oriented work can be done and by this. So, that in other words, it produces a lot of employments, as I had told you, also given you data earlier. So, wave winding is a very important one. Generally, the yarn for weft is wound onto a pin or a small bobbin kind of things, which I had shown you earlier. And this weft yarn is then inserted into a shuttle. If you look at, this is a typical loom, and this is the shuttle which will be carrying this small bobbin for the weft. And this device is basically moving like in these directions and then coming back in the other directions, and that will be by which the weft will be wrapping up the warp, and then you can make a cloth out of it. So, if you look at, this is the typical one loom what I have shown, consists of various parts, to start with the warp beam, and which will be having, these are the warps, and these are the threads, yarns, and being placed properly, and this will be separated. If you look at, this is known as heddle, and there will be holes here in these heddles, and this wire will be going through that, and there are two heddles here which will be going up and down, and depending on the some threads or the warp will be going up corresponding to this, and this is the lower one, and it can be operated by hand, these heddles, and it can be operated by the leg also. This is your reed, and this is the beater. This portion is the beater also, they call it as a sword. This is, you call it as a beater, or this is beater, or is called sword also, and it is having, this are the what you call weft will be moving with the help of shuttle. As I told earlier, it can move towards from left side, if it is left side here to right, and from the right to left whenever these heddles will be down, so that this warp which is on the bottom will go to the top, and the cloth is being formed and the cloth is being wound to the cloth beam here. So, if you look at this process of weaving with the help of this video. So, if you look at here, these are the beater or the sword which is moving, and this is the reed and through which this is the what you call the shuttle is moving up, and then whenever he is moving the hand towards the left, it is the moving towards the left side the shuttle, and when it is on the right side, it is moving to the what you call right. If you look at the leg here, the leg is will be making the heddle to move up and down, and that will make the thread to go up and down. In between this there is a wave shape, through that shuttle will be moving, so that the weft will be going through the warps. So, and then of course, you will have to press it towards your side, so that the cloth will be made, and this is the process by which it is being done. And let us look at another loom, that is known as Loin loom and loom parts, and this is having various parts. I have shown in number. There is one is bamboo, serves as a same purpose as a warp beam in the horizontal loom, and two is the thin bamboo rod act as a leash rod, which will make it to lift it sometimes is whenever required, and this bamboo sword which will be making for shading this warps kind of thing, separating these warps which you call shading, and the bamboo heddle sticks which will be going through this loop, so that it will be separated out. And this is the wooden beater which is being used for after the weft being passing through the warp, to bring this closer to the cloth, that wooden beater is being used. And the wooden rod, this thing serves same purpose as a cloth beam in the horizontal loom, and this is the leather back which has to be give little tension over the whole thing, and that will be on the back of the weavers which will adjust. And this is a continuous warp which is there here, and this is the woven fabric what it is will be having, and this is the mat spread on which the weaver will be sitting, and this is kind of things are being used very much. Let us look at how it will be working. So, if you look at, this is the leash rod through which this warp will be wounded. Let us say this is the odd yarn or the thread or the string, whatever you call, and this is going down. This is on the up and this is going down. Then these are all being done in a systematic way, odd and even order for all the warps. And bamboo short stick will be there, will be separating both this odd and even yarn or the warp, this, and this is the heddle rod which will be using, you will have to lift it up and down, and there is a loop through which this wire will be going, that is your warp will be passing through. This is yarn to make the heddle, these are the end there, this will making a loop here, and this is the weft which will be need to be done with this process. If you look at, this is the similar one, only thing is that in this case bamboo sword is being separating out, but the heddle rod is lifted. As a result, it has been space is created, separation between this, the even warp and the odd warp is made, and then so that weft can be passing through it, right. Again this is going from left to the right side, and again you will have to take this heddle position down, and then it will be going from right to left and making a group like that. This is the process how it is being done with this Loin loom, and basic process remains same. And we will now look at a video so that it will be clear how it is functioning.
I am ready to open the shed that is controlled here by the shed stick. So I am going to place my sword or my beater in the shed, straighten out the heddle, tip my sword on the side while leaning back, and the shed will pop open. Get my hand inside there and then replace my hand with the beater and beat. Now I can pass the weft, placing the weft firmly in the shed, leaving a loop, pinching the side, drawing the weft in gently till it just touches that last warp. Now I'm going to open the heddle shed. Okay, I place my hand like this against the heddle, hook my thumb over the top, and I'm going to roll the heddles forward. At the same time, taking tension off the warp by leaning forward. And you can see that the shed is opening. If there are any sticky warps back here, I'll just ease them down with my thumb, but this has opened very cleanly. Place my sword or beater inside and draw the warp down to the weaving line. Pass the weft. Pinching, drawing the weft in.
So, let us look at another loom, that is the Patola loom, and various parts. If you look at, this is the warp beam and this is the detour of that same one, like, and this is a stick which is being warped to this wound to this warps, and cross mechanism with intended stick. These three are and this is the said rod which will be helpful to make this separation of these warps. This is the pressure bar, this one is the pressure bar, this is the handle, and this is the heddle rod mechanisms which will be helpful to separate, and then this is the sword which is being used for use as a beater, so that the weft will be coming closer to the cloth, and this is the shuttle which will be passing through this V shape warps. Between the warps it will be passing through, and this is the, of course, the breast beam. And if you look at this is the same thing what we have seen from the side views, and this is the warp beam and this is the ditto same as that, and then there is a stick which is being used to separate this thread, and this is the cross mechanism with intended stick, and mainly it will give a tension so that this will be separated out, and this is the said rod, and this one is the pressure bar with the handle. It will be giving the pressure so that this will go down. I will show in the next one, and this is the heddle rod mechanism which will be helping to actuate with the help of this handle, and this is the sword which will be pushing this weft to the cloth side, and this is the cloth beam. So, if you look at now it is like this, and when you give a pressure with the help and with the help of this heddle will be pulled out the lower string to the up, and then this will be going down because this pressure is there. So, it will go down, and this through which, like this is, if you look at, the warp will be passing through, and with the help of the sword it will be brought closer to the cloth. So, and this is of course the cloth beam. and these are the same thing whatever over here. Let us look at how does a Patola loom works, and it is basically from Gujarat, and also other places it will be there. And this is the handle which is using here, and this handle is coming out, and then this is the design which is coming, that this is the bar, what you call beater, which is coming closer. This is the beater which is using the hand for pushing the beater. This is the shuttle which moves by that way, and this design is quite a bit, and then it is very useful. Of course, 2 persons are doing, but a single man can also handle this one. So, there is another frame handlooms which is very easier with the same principle. It will be having warps here, and then with this weft carriers there will be. It will be going this side left to right, and again it will be going to the left to right to left. Of course, there is a things which will be changing this warps orientation, such that it will be moving one over other. So, this is the same principle whatever, but it is the hand one, and is a very simple one. Even you can design in your home and then do that. There is another one which is known as a peat loom. It is being used in several parts of our country, and the peat is being produced here, and these are the heddles which are having, and you can use these heddles, and these are the warps going on and the cloth being produced. Here shuttle is transferred from one box to another. This is the main features, and people claim that to control moisture, looms are settled in the floor that may yarn get moistures kind of thing. This I do not know how the moisture control takes place and what will be the size of the peat. I couldn't manage to get data, and production quantity of this loom is enhanced as compared to primitive loom. So, therefore, it is having advantage. Therefore, people have used this peat. One has to explore how and why it is, and the advantages of peat loom is basically texture fabric can be produced by this loom, and it can accommodate a great quality of weft yarn in the point winding package, and average weaver can weave in case of peat loom. Like it is not, because it is not that you need to have a balance between the leg and the hand. It is a little easier because all is being done maybe by the hand itself. So, because their coordination is very essential, and fly shuttle and back beams have been introduced here to remove some fabric fault such as yarn breakage and knot, because this fly this thing shuttle will be done by the again with the help of hand, and which is easier to do that. So, these are the advantages of the peat looms. Let us look at another very interesting thing, tablet weaving apparatus, like which looks like these things, like it will be having this is the card which having here in, of course, it is the 2 holes, but there might be several 4 holes. This is the warp, and it is a very simple systems, and this is the ends of dhabla being finished with the card weaving. This is the product what you will be getting out of it, and this card can be of various design. It can be 5 holes, it can be 4 holes like triangular, it can be hexagonal kind of things, shapes. You can design of your own, and depending on the design. And these tablet looms are still used in Wardha, Gujarat for making dhavas in shawls or body garments or weaving tapes or tying bundles of religious manuscript, because not very big cloth can be made out of this, but strips can be made very easily. And this still use, and even if you want, you can make yourself this thing with the help of a even small wood, and this thing you can do yourself in your home. It is very easy to do that. Let me also show you that how does it work with the help of a video, so that you will be you will appreciate the how easy it is. And this is the card which is being used, and these are the threads, and so this is the weft which is passing through. You can look at it, like it is a very easy, of course very few threads. You rotate this card so that this some portion the warps, the one set of warp will go up or down, and then like that way you will create a space in between through which the weft can go from left to right and right to left, that way. And this itself, this where this yarn weft can be used as a beater. Lot of functionality is being embedded into the same single sort what is carrying in the hand. So, that is the beauty of this simple system, and which is known as tablet weaving. And you can design differently. And the design of the fabric will be dependent on also the card design, or the number of folds and other things what you can manage. So, let us look at the dyeing process, which is basically a method of coloring the text for its beautifications, and it can be done in during the manufacturing of textile itself. It can be done at any stage of manufacturing textile. It can be fiber, it can be yarn, or it can be in the fabric stage itself. The color such as red, pink, orange, purple, green, extra are obtained by using different natural ingredients, and particularly in ancient India people are using the natural one. Not only in ancient India, in other parts of the world also they might be using earlier days the natural pigments for the coloring. And beside this, a modern, which is also known as dye fixative, was used, and which aids in chemical reactions that takes place between the dye and fiber. So, the dye will be getting absorbed to the yarn or the fabric. And we will look at some of these things what we use, what our ancestors were using. Red, if you look at for the getting red, you will look at the pulp of halila, that is the Terminalia chebua or haritaki. Haritaki is basically a Ayurvedic name, you can know. And flower of dhao or alum. Alum is a basically mordant, which is nothing but a dye fixative. And what you need to do, that the process will be like this. You will have to boil all the ingredients together in a pan, and then dip the cloth in it, turn it with the wooden ladle or some other things, and when material has absorbed all the dye, take it out. Then you will have to rinse with the water and dry it, and then wash it for few times in the clean water, and this is the usual process what will be. Let me tell you one thing, that the pulp of halila is being used here, but there might be several other kinds of natural flowers or this wood or even the seed can be utilized. I will be showing you in the next slide about what are the varieties we can have. Let us say pink color. For getting pink color, you get kachnar bark with the alum, and again same thing, dip the material in alum water and dry it, that is a little different one, and boil the bark of kachnar water, clean the liquid dye material and then dry it. This process is little different than the first one, right. Here first the cloth has to be deep in the alum water and dry it, and then you boil this one and then put this cloth into that. And for getting orange, of course, you can use turmeric, sahav-e-khasa and lemon. This is another natural material, and which of course is in Urdu. add a lemon in the turmeric and savi khasa and dye the top in the solution. I think lemon here it will be used as a dye fixative maybe, I guess. So, for getting purple color, pulp of alila is to be taken and hiracasis and flowers of dough, and you will have to boil the alila in a sulphate of iron. This is used as a basically maybe mordant, and clean it, dip the material in the liquid, dry it, okay, and subsequently boil alum in water. Of course, the alum also is being used. Dip the material, dry it, mix well of the flour of dough and all together. This process is a quite little complex. Boil it in water and dip the material in the boiling liquid, keep in turning it with a wooden ladle so that it does not burn and the dye is evenly absorbed by the whole piece. And you will have to take the material out, rinse it, wash it 4 times in a pure clean water, dry it and then beat it into a smoothness. So, if you look at this process is given, and then like one can also find out their own way of by heat and trial. And if you look at the blue color, we can get from indigo, that is the Nil, which is basically from India, and the Saiv Hikasa and sour lemon. And of course, a lot of research has to be also done. It might be there also. You will have to look at it, that what makes this each constituents, what are the roles being played by each constituents has to be looked at. What can be done here? First, color the material in indigo and water solution. Add sour lemon in the Saiv Khasa and then dye the material in this solution. So, that means different procedure is given for the different kind of things, one has to appreciate that. And for the another color green, you can say Kabuli mother, which is the red, and green means you will take the outer skin of the pomegranate. Pomegranate we use, particularly in winter season it comes, and that can be utilized for the as a part of color. And you will have to use alum, which is nothing but the mordant. All are mixed together, then boil and strain the liquid, dye the material and dry it subsequently. Off white is the vermilion which is being used, and saffron starch which is also being used, and pound the vermilion with the water, dye the material and dry it, boil the saffron in water and strain it, and color the material in liquid and again dry it. Then after that add a starch in the same liquid, dip the material and dry it. And this is the procedure which is being laid out. Of course, one can find out it and trial and then see that is it the optimum method of doing, or there might be a better method, and people have used, therefore it is being quoted in the literature, which I have used one paper and then I have taken from that. And as I was telling that sources of different color dyes and mordants can be several of them. In the last table what I showed you one of each of them. But for example, for the getting red dye we can use safflower, Cassella pinia, madder, logwood, khat palak, Indian mulberry, kamla and lac. And if you look at, these are the parts to be used like flower, wood and then flower, even insect, that also can be utilized as a color. And different mordant, mostly the alum, but there is the last mordant is the tin tetrachloride, which is commonly known as stannic chloride. And similar things will be there for other colors also. I am having those data, but I think I will not load you with this so many data, and if you want you can really utilize it. So, let us look at printing, because it is very much were used earlier times, even today also it is being used, and basically it is a localized dyeing which is undertaken manually on the cloth itself by different methods, and we will be discussing about them. Two methods, one is block printing and other is Kalamkari printing. And block printing, if you look at wooden is being generally used, and the wooden block or is the simplest one and which was used in earlier time, and it is of course one of the slowest method of textile printing. And even the stone can be utilized and some other material. Let me show you that this is the block which is made out of wood, and you can make a design by engraving it. Then you can have various design, and block of different shapes and sizes are made by cutting the wood or the engraving it depending upon your design. And top of the block has a handle, like if you look at this is your handle for printer to grasp it or hold it, and each block has 2 or 3 cylindrical holes which is not shown here, is not shown here. These holes, cylindrical holes, are used for the passage of air, so that it can really help to dry the things, and also it will allow excess dye to squeeze out during the printing. These are 2 purposes will be there. One is of course for passage of air, and also the squeeze out excess dye which will be given for the printing. So, printing is carried out generally from left to right by dipping the block in a dye first and then presses into it onto the fabrics. And of course, this is a practice one has to do, and lot of concentration is required for doing that, because if you make some error, then it will be spoiling the whole fabric or the cloth. So, let us look at now how does this hand printing work by looking at a video. So, if you look at this one, he is trying to make a design out of wood by engraving it, and then it is pressing it by the, this is the handle, and these are the various design what is being shown here. And this design can be utilized here. So, there is a Kalamkari is another printing was used extensively for cotton fabric in earlier days, which incorporates the pattern on the fabric through the dyes, not through the loom, because it is of course by the later on this pattern is being placed on the cotton later on by the Kalamkaris. Kalamkari means kalam basically pen, and it is a this thing is an art form, and a fragment of Kalamkari printed cotton fiber has been found in Mohenjo-daro, which goes to the your what you call Indus Valley civilization, something around maybe 3500 BC. So, this is the one I have shown here, the Kalamkari work in this place. It looks to be very intricate, like lot of patience is required. Kalamkari prints 2 technique using of course block, and other is hand drawing. And what one has to do is that first to maybe print or make a line sketch on the cloth with the help of a charcoal stick or any other kind of color pencil, and followed by the reworking of contours with the kalam or the pen. And this is the another work which I am showing. It is a very quite intricate, and lot of work and patience is required to make this. And these are also being used today in our country, because we are very good in, even today we are having a love for the art, and then we are good in doing that. So, therefore, we are still using it. Of course, it is a very labor intensive. Let me show you a video how this Kalamkari printing carried out on a cotton.
Canvas is now all set for the best of the artists, who begin by sketching the motifs with dried charcoal sticks. The black color, obtained from processing iron, jaggery and salt water, is applied first. Alum is used as the mordant to fix the colors. Once the outline is complete, the details are filled in with the various colors all of which are extracted from vegetables, roots and barks, and a myriad of natural sources. The different hues are layered in different stages and treated for fixing. The pictures come to life as pinks, yellows, greens and blues emerge as they are applied and fixed with great care to prevent the colors from merging with each other. Once the artist completes the work on the fabric, it is left on the riverbed with the right side to the sand. The river, sun and sand tease out the final colors in their right intensity, and the fabric meets the river for the final wash before it begins its travel to tell the stories it carries.
So, let me now conclude with few remarks this textile technology what we have seen. If you look at textile technology, was not a rare technology for ancient Indian, as some of the oldest evidence of textiles come from India only, and adoption of modern technique had a serious impact on textile sector, as we had seen and discussed, due to which the production is increasing, but the employment of people and self innovative skills of people are decreasing with increase in thrust or wastage of fibers, rigidity in design and complexity in overall process. And also we are losing the creativity, which is the innate nature of human being with our people, because of adoption of this mechanized method of textile production. And eco-friendly dye and sustainable process for textile production should be encouraged, which was a part of our ancient culture, and proper method for its implementation should be developed and followed, and we should work it out. Little bit mechanization may be called for, but not that we will be using electricity and other things, and it will be very costly also. More research on traditional textile technology without resorting to the mechanization is the need of the hour, so that we can develop a lot of employment and also keep our creativity and peace of mind and also the satisfaction level with us. So, various policies initiatives, scheme intervention like cluster approach, aggressive marketing initiative and social welfare measures, handloom sectors would be undertaken to revive our ancient technology by increasing the income level of weavers and overall growth of various processes associated with, and this must be integrated with the agriculture. So, what I would like to suggest all of you, that you should get experience in this by doing little bit this yourself, because some of the things loom technology you can develop yourself, like your card technology and then other things which are a simpler one. So, which you can do like tablet weaving apparatus and other things you can do very easily. And beside this, I would suggest if you could visit some of the existing handlooms and make a video and also learn yourself and send us, so that we can next time we will be incorporating your videos in our course for the education purpose. Thank you very much.